Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're seeing the oh, sorry, my PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So good morning or good afternoon. It depends, everyone. Let's start the ArchaeoLore Research Network workshop. Just a few ideas before we start. So, what is this? This is an informal online initiative that is dedicated to sharing ongoing research and ideas related to archaeology, memory, place names, amulets, beliefs, and whatever related fields. So what I did was to gather two different projects, the ArchaeoLore group and the amulet studies, and unite them to build a network that connects scholars across dispersed academic fields and different countries. So the mission is to foster a deeper understanding of heritage by integrating tangible and intangible dimensions and analyzing how communities construct and reinterpret places over time. Um, so we study material layers and immaterial layers, the archaeological remains, the built structures, the physical modifications of the landscape or the territory, and the material layers, the social memory, oral narratives, the belief systems and rituals, and the place-based knowledge. So we believe the landscapes are complex repositories of memories, practice, and lived experience. So continuously constructed and reinterpreted over time. So the objectives of the network, and these were the objectives of the ArchaeoLore group, is to analyze and document the interaction between archaeological remains, social memory, or oral traditions, and place names. So remember, we're not just working with archaeological remains. We're trying to gather the archaeological remains and to understand how they were constructed and interpreted by the communities. So we we hope to contribute to the academic debate about the to integrate intangible heritage into archaeological and landscape studies and to emphasize social memory as a methodological tool. And we also would like to to generate articles, I would like to apply for an international project, and I can talk about in the end, and maybe create a digital database integrating all these things that we're working. So knowledge, knowledge exchange, interdisciplinary research network, and interdisciplinary synergies are the pillars of this work. So we have already, being an informal group, we have already accomplished a lot. So we have participated in EE sessions. We have made a candidacy to two cost actions. We did get approved, but maybe it's a good idea to go to a third. And we have write an article, and we have developed, organized the ArchaeoLore group webinars. So our objective is to create networks that allow us researchers to study and explore bridges of knowledge, places, objects, memories, and beliefs, connecting disciplines, countries, regions, and revealing how communities continuously reinterpret and renegotiate their past. So that's what we're going to do with this workshop, with all this participation. So we really like to thank you for all the your contribution, and that's it. I took more time than I thought. Sorry. So maybe we can start with the first presentation. Is that okay, João?
Yeah. Sure. Um, the first presentation will be from Annapurna Pandey from the University of California. So, Annapurna, you can
Thank
start.
you. Thank you so much. Good morning. It's 6 o'clock here in California.
Mm.
So wonderful to see you all. I know this is very kind of, I can see the diversity. Thank you, Alexandra, for putting it together. Very good morning. My project, just to give you a little bit of background, I'm talking about Kapadganda shawl, or it's the textile of a tribal community. They're known as Dongoria cones. And the shawl as a marker of their identity and spirituality. So interestingly, Dongoria cons they have a very pluralistic way of constructing themselves in relation to the mountain that they live on, or live under, or kind of very much kind of in relation to. This mountain is called Niyamagiri, and for them Niyamagiri is not just a mountain, it's their ancestor, it's their rule maker, it is their family, and it's their identity. So they draw Niyamagiri, the earth, the forest, the mountain, on the shawl, so as a marker of their identity. So this is the background. So this is very much kind of. And then interestingly, in the last 15 years, the Dongoria cons have been very badly affected by the efforts of various mining companies. They are known by Vedanta, among others, in collaboration with the state of Odisha, to mine the mountain Niyamagiri. So as a result, they have fought against it, and they have gone to the Supreme Court. And in 2013, there was a verdict from the Supreme Court that without the permission of the villagers, that there cannot be any mining. But always the state and the companies, they have been going around exploiting and finding out ways to do the mining. So this is the background. So this is my story. I have been working on Dongoria cones for the last several years, but I visited them last January. Is there an echo going on?
You can continue. It's the echo when someone enters. I think
Yeah,
it's the echo.
you can continue, Annapurna, please. You have to turn on your microphone now. I had to shut off all the mics. So can you do that for us, please? See if I can. No, we are not listening to you, Annapurna. No.
Oh, now I can.
No, no. Now we are
Yeah.
listening to you. Thank you.
It was midday. Dongoria women sat in a row on their front porches in the village of Khajuri, nestled in the Niyamagiri hills. Their spectacular Kapadganda shawls spread neatly before them as they worked on the embroidery. Young girls were watching intently as their sisters, mothers, and other women in the neighborhood were weaving. Dongoria cones live on the Niyamagiri hill range of the Eastern Ghats in Odisha, covering several districts, covering three districts mainly: Koraput, Kalahandi, and Rayagada. And the shawl depicts the coexistence of the Niyamagiri hills, the earth, the forest, and the animals the Dongorias identify with. The myths and legends associated with the textile narrate the creation story of the Niyamagiri hills. The Dongorias call themselves the children of Niyamaraja, king. Look at the mountain as the creator, protector, and nurturer, and follow his rules for their well-being. In 2013, I was introduced to Kapadganda while studying the Dongoria Cones protest movement against the multinational Vedanta Corporation to stop mining in Niyamagiri. I remember the Dongoria Cone, the development agency, it's a government agency which has been established to protect and to work with this group. complained of a lack of any market for kapadganda, the shawl, and the weaving was confined to a small group of women. Yet this time, in January 2026, I was struck by the women's keen engagement with kapadganda weaving on a mass scale. The women wear kapadganda, which they are very proud of weaving, covering their bodies from their waist to their breasts over another piece of cloth. Kapadganda in the Kui language of Dangaria Kond means sheep's cloth, suggesting the richness of Kond culture through their weave. The Kandhas have preserved their rich cultural and ethnic heritage in their weaving. On 8th January 2026, when I visited the Kandha villages, I found out that what stood out during my visit was women weaving Kapadganda shawls as a visible marker of identity in a landscape increasingly shaped by bauxite extraction and the threat of their displacement. I have previously documented protests against bauxite mining in these villages, and it's striking to see how the shawl now circulates not merely as a textile but as an assertion of their identity. Even as industrialization reshapes everyday life in clothing, hairdo, and language, Kapadganda persists as a sign of collective self-hood and political presence. When asked about the significance of the shawl, Sindhe Wadaka from Khajuri village in her 50s, the president of the Niyamagiri Dangaria Kant Weavers Association says, quotation, it is our identity. Kandha people come together with threads of different colors joining. Quotation over. Women spend 3 to 4 months to 1 year finishing a shawl. Sindhe says, every morning we go to our dangar, the forest, down the mountain. Because of the dangar, the mountain, we get the rain and our harvest is plenty. We get the bountiful produce. Dangar, as the androgynous divine, is depicted in the shawl as triangles, and they are also vividly depicted on the walls of people's houses. Women of the community embroider their creation myth of Niyamaraja, the mountain, on thick, hand-woven white or off-white cotton shawls. They mainly use 4 colors of thread: brown, green, red, and yellow. Each color carries the cultural values tied to nature, as they believe in giving back to nature as much as they take from it. Green symbolizes hills and mountains, and green crop, fields, trees, plants, etc. Red symbolizes blood, energy, power, and vigor. Yellow symbolizes turmeric, which grows in abundance. It stands for peace, togetherness, and happiness. Brown stands for land, the earth. In the old days, they used natural dyes to color the thread. Now the threads are commercially bought. So in the villages, I observed young and older women sitting together on their porches, a small basket of thread beside them, working on shawls nearly 2 by 5 feet in size. The embroidery begins by entangling thread in a marked area of the cloth and then slowly extending the pattern. Women weave these shawls for themselves, for their brothers, and sometimes for an intimate partner. In 2024, Kapadganda, this sheep's cloth, received the geographical identification called GI tag in recognition of the unique hand-woven contributions of the Dongoria women. I saw a few young educated women take pride in weaving it. One young woman says, I have completed class 10. I do what my mother does, go to the jungle and weave. At the same time, there is resistance from young people in the community. Sindhe argues that young people no longer follow rules, are uninterested in the rituals, and are not tied to the dangar, the mountain, and the divine. According to her, only 20 to 25 women out of the 600 people in the villages embroider the shawl, 57% of whom are women. So Ramesh Nala, DKDA community resource person, says nowadays young women are not motivated to do the embroidery. They go to school or work to earn higher wages. Only a few women are engaged in embroidery. This is mainly because of the time and also the manual work, and at the same time that very meager income. The tribe itself traditionally did the weaving of the shawl and the embroidery. The yarn for the shawl was bought at the local market, and the weavers Both men and women would weave it on the loom known as the charkha. The cotton shawl was processed and woven on a peat loom known as tanta. Now the community buys the plain shawls from neighboring communities, mainly from the weavers of Kotpad and Kalahandi, the neighbors, and women do the shawl embroidery. I was amazed to see the hard work of these women. Every day they walk uphill a few kilometers to the jungle, and on their way back, they collect the dry firewood from the forest. As an experiment, I tried to lift the firewood to my head with the help of three women, but I still could not remain steady. Many young women who went away to study at the Kalinga Institute of Social Studies in Bhubaneswar, about 400 kilometers away, have returned to the village due to lack of jobs. They go to the forest to collect products, and at the same time they kind of work to support their families. Design intervention. How much time do I have?
I guess that you are very near the end of your time.
Okay, okay. I'll finish. So the
Thank you.
very interestingly, just to kind of summarize, the DKDA agency, the government agency that is there to support them, has been promoting the production. There has been lot of interest from the government, non-government sector, and and as a result, there has been lot of training going on for these shawl, and there are also different designs are introduced. But interestingly, there is lot of also speculation, ambivalence, and a kind of fear is spreading among the villagers. There is a Jagannath Mahanti, a retired IAS, who spearheaded the GI tag for Kapadganda textile, which was granted in 2024, says that Kapadganda is an identity of the Dongoria cones. Now they are recognized for their cloth. GI tag has given the Dongorias a boost in their informal economy. But he is worried that many Adivasi patterns, such as these kind of Kapadganda, has been commercialized and are now printed without any connection to their original people, their culture. And also the design has been adopted by commercial designers and merchants and is sold in the name of Adivasis without any connection to them. He says with print culture, the Adivasi identity will die. So there is a big fear that with this marketing and with the spread, there can be a backlash too. So and I just kind of to end that the picture that emerges from this study is that women cannot be treated as marginal to the development projects promoted by the state and corporations. The compelling evidence from India and other parts of the world shows that, like the Dongoria weave of Kapadganda, women have organized themselves in various movements to protect their land, livelihood, forests, and other natural resources. It is incumbent upon policymakers at the United Nations and at the respective levels of local, state, federal, and supranational organizations to incorporate women's experiences and perspectives in developing policies that have an enduring impact on their lives and livelihood. So, and the last one, like kind of last, in conclusion, I would like to say that Kapadganda is a spiritual and cultural symbol of the Dongorias. It is shaped by women's time, movement, and endurance. With the GI tag and training for young women, the Niyamagiri Dongoria Kond Weavers Association continues its work as a way of connecting to the Dongar, the mountain, the land, and the forest, which are being destroyed by mining. In the slow stitching of Dongoria women, identity itself is being held together thread by thread. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, Annapurna. Um, Now, without delay, um, I'm going to pass to Maud Idris. I guess it's the name. I'm saying the name correctly, from the Department of History, University of Delhi. Um, just to remember that I'm asking you, please to stick to your time so we can um, stick to the schedule, please. So, Maud Idris.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Today I'll be discussing the framework of religion within the Indus Valley or Harappan civilization. I completed my internship at National Museum, New Delhi, India, where I worked on a research project exploring the religion and belief systems of Harappan civilization. During this period, I engaged with a wide range of scholarly sources which deepened my understanding of early Asian history. Unlike Mesopotamia or Egypt, where religion is clearly institutionalized and defined through monumental temples and deciphered textual evidence, in contrast, the Harappan civilization presents a very different case. The Harappan script is yet to be deciphered, and there is a notable absence of large scale religious architecture. What we describe as a Harappan religion is a reconstruction based on material remains and scholarly interpretation. The earliest influential interpretation of core aspects of the civilization comes from Sir John Marshall, the then Director General of ASI, who proposed the Harappan civilization and religion revolved around the cult of Mother Goddess, fertility worship, and proto form of Shiva, a god in Hindu culture, based on the famous Pashupati seal. While his interpretations are influential, it has to be presented as a partly prepositions and speculation. Let us examine what the evidence suggests. At first, the terracotta figurines, in particular female ones, are often connected with goddess worship. Many of these figures emphasize prosperity and fertility, such as exaggerated features such as portraying pot-bellied hips or depiction with infants. However, recent intervention restraint asserting not all figurines are inherently religious in character. Some figurines may have served as toys, votive offerings, or household ritual objects. Their uneven distribution across various sites also challenge the notion of uniform mother goddess cult. Secondly, seal number 40, that is the Pashupati seal, one of the most controversial in debate artifact, depicts a seated, possibly three-headed horned figure encircled by various wild animals. Marshall identified it as a proto-Shiva in a yogic posture. However, later intervention contested this interpretation that the figure's identity, postures, and gender are uncertain. They highlight that without literary evidence, iconography interpretation remain uncertain. Third, we have the evidence of ritual practice. Although they are not in a centralized manner, the fire altars found at Kalibangan, Lothal, Amri, Rakhigadi, and other archaeological sites are the evidence of possible fire rituals or sacrifices. However, their absence in other sites indicate more of a regional variation rather than a uniform structure of religious framework. Similarly, seals representing animals, trees, and hybrid beings suggest the symbolic or totemic belief system. The motifs of people tree often associate with the figures in pose of reverence suggests a form of nature worship. The presence of animal motifs such as unicorn, bulls, and composite creatures may represent identities, spiritual symbols, and mythological symbols. Another important aspect is funerary practice. Harappan burial shows considerable diversities with intended inhumation on burials and even fractional burials. The presence of grave goods indicate the belief in afterlife, but also suggests a variation in diverse burial tradition. Perhaps the most striking feature of Harappan religion is the absence of monumental temples. This suggests contrast to the contemporary civilizations such as Mesopotamian ziggurats and Egyptian temples, that the religious practices may have been centralized. These practices may have been possibly conducted within the household as opposed to the largely organizational institutions. Large structures such as Great Bath, the College of Priests, and the Assembly Hall may have some ritual significance, but its actual function remain highly debated. The evidence suggests a complex and decentralized system with the components such as fertility worship, nature reverence, ritual practices, and symbolic reverence that avoids definitive interpretation. In conclusion, the Harappan civilization and its religion is a complex and multi-layered structure. The undeciphered script continued to limit our understanding, leaving us with many questions. It is essential to consider religion as a distinct system that is grounded in its own cultural framework. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Maud Idris. So we are going to give word to Anya Mlakar. I guess I'm
Yeah,
saying the
very
name
well.
correctly. Okay,
Yeah.
Anya Mlakar. Okay, from the University of Maribor, from Slovenia. So
Okay.
go, Anya.
Yeah, hello, nice to meet everyone. Can I share my screen? I want to show you some pictures. Okay.
Of course, do it, please.
Oops, no. So, yeah. Okay, so today I would like
You
to.
can, sorry, Anya. You can click for the presentation to get to the all of the screen, please.
Like this?
Like that. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So today I would like to talk about a topic I've been working on for a little less than a year now, and it's causing me much confusion. So your feedback would be very appreciate. I would appreciate your feedback a lot. So I'm exploring. How assumed archaeological heritage is being reinterpreted outside of institutional frameworks, especially in connection with spirituality, energy concepts, and alternative understandings of the past. So my focus is on individuals and a small group who identified certain places in the landscape as megalithic sites, remnants of ancient, very ancient civilizations, lost civilizations, as energy points or ancient sacred places, even though these sites are not recognized as such by official archaeology. These interpretations are often connected with ideas of pre-Christian belief systems, cosmic alignments, or hidden knowledge of ancient civilizations. So Father Karel Gržan, so this is this guy, he's a Catholic priest, and he's the key figure behind these interpretations and basically the originator of these ideas. He argues that a landscape contains traces of an ancient and highly developed civilization, which had deep connections to nature and the cosmos. In his view, these so-called megalithic structures are not random, but they are part of a larger system, and they reflect the positions of certain constellations on the landscape. He also suggests that this knowledge has been lost and that current efforts to identify these sites are a way of rediscovering this forgotten past. However, unlike clearly proven megalithic sites, these are not confirmed by archaeologists, and they're often seen as natural formations. On the other side, this region, so the Kozjansko region, which is on the eastern part of Slovenia, has received a relatively small amount of archaeological research. So some of these sites are neither rejected nor confirmed as having archaeological significance. But generally, Gržan's ideas challenge the usual scientific views. The empirical part of my research is based on interviews with people involved in these practices, especially organizing these practices, particularly those connected with the association called Star Paths. I will very briefly present some of the key themes that emerge from these interviews that I have been making. But first some pictures, okay, just so you know what kind of stuff I'm dealing with here. So these are some of the sites that are recognized as megalithic formations. Some of them are understood as being man-made. Some of them are understood as being natural, but still used in these ancient knowledge systems for certain reasons, okay? So this is a very known one, the most known one. It's called Ampus. These are some stones that are perceived to have healing properties. This is one of my interlocutors here. He did his pendulum measurements, and we've actually found a real drywall. It's a very clear drywall, although I don't exactly know what it is. One of my friends who's an archaeologist is still working on that. And this is something I visited just this week. This site is very interesting because just recently, some archaeological remains were found, some pottery dated to prehistory, but that is all I can tell you about it at this point because it's very new. So it was used in the past for some reason, and it's quite an impressive point, as you might see. Okay, so this is the picture. I don't know if you know this guy. This is Semiros Managic. He is the person behind the so-called Bosnian pyramids. So he is part of this discourse, in interpreting this landscape. Again, some of the features that are identified as having special energy potential or something. Okay, so some of the key topics that have emerged are. So I've been asking people, how do you understand that these sites are something special? How do you decide that they are, that they have this special value? And there's no single methodology behind that. Some rely on visual patterns in the landscape, such as lines of stones, terraces, unusual formations. Some use measurement techniques, such as pendulums or radiesthesia. Some rely on repeated experiences. So if multiple people understand the site as sacred, that gives it credibility that it is special. Some rely on physical or spiritual experiences, and some people use astronomical or geological interpretations, like linkage with constellations. But what is important is that these methods are often combined. And a place becomes usually, so far, as far as I understand right now, these places become significant if multiple people recognize them as special. So it's not just an individual's decision, but maybe I'll find something different later, I don't know. But this can also lead to a creation of a so-called secret landscape. So it's not just a single site, but a network of places that are connected through interpretations. But as I say, this process is still ongoing. People continue to discover new locations, reinterpreting existing ones, and expanding this system. So, as I mentioned, these places have also experiential value. Visitors or these organizers often describe strong physical or emotional reactions. So one interviewee described cases where people with serious illnesses felt sudden weakness or exhaustion at these places. Others talked about feeling calm, clear, filled with energy. So some locations are understood as places of healing, cleansing, or balancing, and some as potentially dangerous due to their strong energy characteristics. Because of this, activities such as guided visits, small rituals, meditative practices are sometimes organized at these sites, but this is a whole other issue that I can't address right now. But what I can say is these places function not only as heritage in a way, but also as active places. So places where something is happening in the present. So one thing that I'm very interested in is this tension with the relationship with official archaeology. So it's quite interesting because interviewees often perceive archaeology as too focused on the material evidence, for example, dismissing broader symbolic or cosmological interpretations, or not, or places that don't have clear archaeological meaning are dismissed as insignificant, or they understand archaeological remains as too narrow. They don't recognize the subtle dimensions of space, or they just see them as very closed-minded, which is very, very typical. At the same time, it's not a clear-cut rejection of official archaeology. For example, one interviewee explicitly emphasized the importance of methodology, validation, and research, which opens this interesting space between scientific and alternative forms of knowledge. But what we see is like a parallel field of knowledge, which sometimes overlaps with official archaeology, and sometimes it completely challenges it. Okay, this was very, very quickly, but now I would like to address some of the key issues that I have, some questions, dilemmas. So one of the central questions that I have right now is, can these processes be understood as a form of contemporary heritage making process, or because it's completely outside of official institutional frameworks? And basically, even if I go even broader, is this even a valid research topic? In the sense, will it, I don't know if it will bring new theoretical insights, or is it just another case study within this larger framework of postmodern religiosity? And also, what are some of the mechanisms of legitimation of this heritage? Sometimes I'm afraid that my interlocutors see me as a tool for legitimation, because like I'm a researcher. I try to be very clear that I am just observing. I am not saying yes, no, this is valid. I am completely outside of this, but I am afraid that some might see me as, giving credibility to these sites. And I have questions about knowledge production. So what is the role of materiality in this process? Something else that I'm missing, I don't know. And some of the open questions that I have: how to study intersections of experience, spirituality, and material remains. Is this alternative epistemology, or this is heritage production in the most classical sense? And again, as I mentioned, how to avoid this true-false judgment. I really try to go outside of this process, but I feel I get pulled in by my interlocutors. And what is this thing that I'm studying? Is it part of heritage studies or anthropology of religion or something else? Does it even matter? I don't know. So I have a lot of questions, but I will conclude for now. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Sanja. I guess that we are going to talk a lot about your questions later in the discussion.
Hopefully,
Thank you.
hopefully. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
thank you
counting
so
on.
much. But now, to stay on schedule, I'm going to give word to Katerina Botic. I don't know if Katerina is online. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Did
here.
I spell your name correctly? It's Botic?
Great. Yeah.
Okay, great. From Zagreb, Croatia. So go on, Katerina.
I also have something to share. How do I do this?
You have to share. It's in the top right corner. Share.
Okay, do I share entire screen? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll try to put my presentation on.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Absolutely.
Is it
cool? Yeah.
Okay. Just try to take it. Okay. So I'm coming from this purely archaeological side of the story, and I have one question that was nagging me during the excavation on the multi-layered Neolithic site, which we call this type of sites we call tell mounds or tell sites. So my question is, how do traditions arise, and can we reconstruct something that was going, or the flow of tradition that was originating several thousand years before? And this is specifically important because the region that I will be, it doesn't move, just a second, that I will, okay, that I will be talking about had, is this one, had a very, very strong migration patterns. It also has today, but it had over the past 7,000 years. So we are not talking about the continuity of society or the traditions in the way that maybe in some other parts of the world there is a continuity of several thousand years, but here we don't see it. So I will be talking about specific parts of house constructions. In this region, very briefly, we have in the region that I'm interested in, we have mostly wattle and daub house constructions with timber wood frames and reed roofs. In this northern part, this is kind of a mixed tradition, more woody construction, and in this region there is only wood construction. This also has something to do with the environment, with the natural resources, because this region, this river region, is very it was traditionally filled with forests, oak forests. So this is from a book about how to reconstruct the traditional housing, and we see the wattle and daub construction that is inside the timber framed timber frames, and the construction is made with clay mixed with wood shavings or chaff, with water, of course. The roof is traditionally reed. And what is important for my story is this part of the construction, which is how a finishing part, finishing part of the floors and finishing part of the walls that are clay. They use clay mixed with water. This is the result, and this photo is from one of the traditional houses, so how it looks like in real life. So I will be talking very briefly now about the late Neolithic site. In absolute dates, we are in the 5th millennium before Christ, and the archaeological site is here next to the river. This is the old riverbed. This is the modern channel. Traditional houses are in this area, and the clay source that is used for, or that was used for rebuilding the floors in these houses is here. So one lady from the older lady from the village came when we were doing the excavations, and when she saw our finds, what we had from the construction, she told me that in this area there is her older neighbor, that still lives in the traditional old house with the clay floor, and that she was maintaining that clay floor for her. So the clay always came from the same source. Clay was diluted with water to form a runny paste. She was using rags and hands to apply this paste to the floor. And the procedure was done after thorough brooming or cleaning of the floor first, and she would do it each week. So this is something that to maintain the house clean and probably also free of vermin or anything that can cause health problems. It should be done every week. So a little bit about the excavations. Here, I don't know if you can see it, how much you can see it. This is the part of the burnt house. This is another section, something different. We didn't have money or time to open a larger trench, so we are talking about just one part of the house, which is probably about 10 meters long. And phases of the excavation. The trenches are foundation trenches filled with wooden posts. This is the upper part of the house, the walls. And there are two phases here. One, this belongs to this house, and this is something that came from the younger layer above. In this part, you can see under the burnt part of the flooring, there are some unburned parts, which are very, very, very similar to what I've shown from traditional houses. And this is a section of floor rebuilding. We know that what is the upper part of the housing, because we have large quantities of daub. Daub is a burnt clay from the burnt houses, from the walls, in this case from the walls, but from the floors as well. This is the other section. So here we found unburnt clay floor, which is just the same as we have in the traditional housing. So what is bothering me, or what is nagging me as a question or idea, we can't talk about continuity of traditions over such a long period of time because, as I said, societies change, traditions change, languages change, a lot of things change. So, is this in this case who conditions the tradition in this case? Is it the landscape, resources of the landscape, or are those people? But if they are people, if the agency of transmission of the traditions are people, how was that done over such a long period of time, especially considering the fact that there is no continuity, there is no even a language continuity in this, not only genetic, but also the language continuity in this region. Or is this something that is dictated by the resources in the landscape themselves? So thank you very much for your attention.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Katerina. So I guess that now, Alexandra, we are going to have a short discussion. Is correct? So, if anyone wants to make any question to the colleagues that have presented their works, feel free now. Anyone?
Don't know, but he wants to. Okay.
Oh, you can go, Pedro.
I think some of the people's muted there. I have managed, I think, to. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sure, Stephen.
I unmuted myself there. Excellent presentations. I can certainly relate to most of them there. I think Katerina's presentation would be closer to some of the projects I've been involved with since moving to Austria. I was volunteer on a 3-year project, United by Crisis. Basically, it's looking for Neolithic linear band culture, Neolithic sites surrounding the famous Schlett site here in Niederösterreich. We had a 3-year program of field walking, trying to find outlier sites. I'm not sure if any of you are aware of this Schlett site. It's absolutely amazing. It's ranked up there with a site in Germany. It just slipped by mind now. But of one of the earliest recognized sites of a battle ensuing. There was a large ditch with over 100 human remains showing signs of blunt force trauma. So we're looking linear band culture. We're talking sort of 7,000 years. So Katerina, your site with the Neolithic certainly is something that I have an interest here in Austria.
Yeah, well, my idea is that I'm always trying to push the traditions that we see today. I'm always trying to push the boundary to the past, and as I'm working in the Neolithic, I'm trying to understand how this small region, it's not a large region, but how it functioned and so on. Yeah, I know about this project, and I know about the sites, and it is but LBK traditions are different. So we're talking about timber framed long houses. They do not have the same kind of material remains in the archaeological excavations or archaeological record. But nevertheless, it is very, very interesting to see that even when we are a little bit, not a little bit, a lot stretching the ideas of traditions, that we can actually see that something is going on in the specific regions for specific reasons. We do not still understand why and how. Who is the transmitter? Who is the agency of this transmission? I can't talk about the identity. Of course, I can't, because there are layers and layers and layers of historical identities in this region. So identity is really off the table at the moment. But I'm focusing more on traditions, and this is something that thanks to this group and thanks to this multidisciplinary approach, that I started to think about archaeological. So I come, Anya, I come from this main course, mainstream archaeological scientific part, but it is also very interesting to see that there are different interpretations, that they don't have to be like what you are dealing with, a very wild imagination of somebody else, but that can actually have the real potential in the mainstream archaeology to and not only archaeology, of course, anthropology and ethnography and cultural anthropology and so on, that there are lines of research that we can focus and connect and build something different that is not wild guessing or wild dreaming or wishful thinking or whatever. So I really like your presentation, Anya, also, but I would be very careful, especially with Semir Osmanagic. I went to Bosnian pyramids.
No. I am not giving validity to this. I'm just observing. I see this as a heritage making process, nothing else. I mean, I've seen some wild stuff there, like my energies were measured. I was told I am under this black magic, but I just keep my distance and I just observe. But I know I am very, very careful when I talk to archaeologists about that, because I always try to emphasize that I am not doing archaeological research. I am not doing archaeological research. I focus on archaeological imaginaries. This is, let's say, my topic.
I guess that this discussion is going to be very, very cool at the end. So because we are trying to get a schedule here, sorry to interrupt, but I just want to give someone raise his hand. Pedro, please be brief now. Thank you so much.
Okay. Briefly, I just want to make a bridge, let's say, with my presentation later on. But I really enjoy your question, Katerina, because this is really an important question, since there are so many breaks in time periods, and we see the same traditions and the same technologies and all that being used again and again. They're popping up in different periods, and there's no cultural transmission possible. And I have some ideas about this, just to say that I believe we are, let's say, minimizing the effect of the resources, the landscape, the nature, the environment, how this is, let's say, molding our behavior. And this is in this sense that I think there's some other possibilities of explanation other than cultural transmission. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. But what is interesting that we have in this part, we have Neolithic coming from the Middle East, and we have in the Western part where the wood tradition houses are used. This is the LBK tradition. This is the Central European tradition. This is a different kind of Neolithic, let's say, not clay oriented, clay based. So we are in the region that we have a strict division even today in those traditions, which is for me mind-blowing. Just allow me one sentence to answer Anya. Mainstream archaeology is doing with material remains. We don't have any other way to explain the spirituality, identity, or anything else. So there is a lot that we don't know. And I'm not against any alternative explanations. But I agree with you. We have to do it. We have to do it very methodically, so that it can be reproduced, that it can be validated, and that it has some deeper meaning. Otherwise, you are talking about production of cultural heritage, but the problem is what this cultural heritage is.
Exactly. This is what I'm asking. Like, do we need the blessing of an institution to say to say this is heritage, or can people themselves say this is heritage? And but you know what? Even though that it doesn't fit into official archaeological frames, it is a social phenomenon that we see all over the world, and that makes it relevant. It's not the archaeology alone that gives the stamp of relevancy. It's a thing that happens, and as a thing that happens, it's worthwhile researching, in my opinion. Hopefully, I don't know. I'm very confused at this point if it's even a valid research topic. I don't know. I'm sorry. I should be like very confident in my research. I don't know what I'm
No,
dealing
not at
with.
all. Not at all. Not at all. But I guess that we are going to discuss this later a lot, because I feel that everyone has something to say about this. So what I'm going to propose now is that we make a short break. Don't you think, Alexandra? About what, 5, 10 minutes?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's okay. I think we need a break, a 10, 7,
10,
8 minutes break.
8 minutes break,
7.
so we can go to the bathroom and refill our cups. So okay, see you all in 8 minutes. Okay, thank you so much.